Okay, we're going on with this book here, The Holy Grail of Wisdom Quotes. We're doing Thomas Fuller with the letter F, going in alphabetical order. And here's his first quote. He was a preacher from 1608 to 1661 in England. He says, the real difference between men is energy. A strong will with a settled purpose and an invincible determination can accomplish almost anything. And this is the distinction between great and little men. I think there's a lot of truth in that, just because I've seen guys who decided they were going to do something. I know guys like were wrestlers who really didn't have that much ability. Like this one guy I knew in high school, and he just loved wrestling. He didn't really have anything else going on for him in his life, and he wanted to be a wrestler. He had transferred from one high school to another so he could be a wrestler. And I was a really good wrestler. I had great athletic ability, and I used to just beat the hell out of him, just torture him. I felt sorry for him. Okay, I would try to be nice to him. And he was totally dedicated. Then I got injured. And when I got injured, I couldn't do anything. He just kept training and training and training. He was always stayed late after every practice, wrestled in every spring and summer competition. And he got so good. By the time he was a senior in high school, he pinned his way through state tournament. Okay, and then he was a 3-time All-American. And I tell you that because there was nothing to make you think he'd be good. He just decided he was going to be a good wrestler. He loved wrestling, thought it was cool, and he became great with that determination. Okay. I can also say for myself, there was nothing distinguishing about me as a student in high school or even the first semester of my freshman year of college. But once I decided I was going to go all out for medicine, I got good. So, yeah, anybody who's really great, they usually have this over-the-top energy. Because you need a lot of energy to improve on what's been done before. You got to do more than anybody else did before in that area, which means you need a lot of energy. So you got to get yourself psyched up. And that's why religious people are so great. Most of the great achievements have been done by religious people. You'll see that because you have to have this over-the-top vision of why it's worthwhile to do it. Otherwise, what's going to make you do anything extraordinary? You know, it doesn't take that to just get by, but if you want to do something extraordinary, it takes a lot of energy. Thomas Fuller, most men will cheat without scruple if they can do it without fear. Yeah, that's why you see so much corruption at the higher levels, because they know they can get away with it, even if they're caught. So what? Nobody's going to do anything to them. That's why you got to have checks and balances to make things work. Just look at the Roman emperors, how bad many of them behaved. Thomas Fuller, he that cannot forgive others breaks the bridge over which he must pass himself, for every man has need to be forgiven. Choose a wife rather by your ear than by your eye. Good luck getting guys to do that. But that would be wise. I actually heard a great quote by Schopenhauer. What he said was, you cannot trust what a woman says because what she says is based on like her social training, just polite convention. But what she does with her behavior is based on her deeper biology. And he says that her conversation, how she behaves in a superficial way in public, is just based on the local social context of what she knows she's supposed to do. But her deeper biology is based on millions of years of nature. And it's kind of primitive, and maybe that's why a woman goes for the irresponsible bad boy than the good husband, etc. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of all this stuff about psychology of women. We're not going to get into that right now, but there is something interesting to that. Thomas Fuller, if a friend tell thee a fault, imagine always that he telleth thee not the whole. He only tells you half how bad your writing is or something else. He doesn't want to be mean. Thomas Fuller, take care how thou offendest men raised from a low condition. Yeah, some people, they can't take criticism, so it's best not to give it to them. You got to use your judgment on that. It's a sign of a good friend that they'll criticize you, because they want to help you. The darkest hour comes before the dawn. I like that quote. I think that's a real helpful one because everybody's got disappointments, setbacks, and frustration, so you have to be able to push on through. The darkest hour comes before the dawn. The night is dark. I like this version of it better. The night is darkest before the dawn. A wrestling coach used to say that to me, and I like that. That was a good motivator. Thomas Fuller, friendships multiply joys and divide the griefs. Yeah, doubles the joys, halves the griefs. A stumble may prevent the fall. Yeah, an early mistake that gets you to reassess and get your act together can protect you from a problem later. One that would have the fruit must climb the tree. Okay. Crosses are ladders to heaven. Take up your cross. We shall know the worth of water when the well is dry. Oh, this guy lives in the 1600s. Didn't Ben Franklin say that in the 1700s? Okay, here's a good one. It is madness for a sheep to talk of peace with a wolf. That's my experience with a lot of pros. A lot of pros, they've been conditioned since grade school to think the world likes them. And what I would say is if the world likes you, then why are you a pro? Okay, the world doesn't like you. You don't have fluoride and aluminum in your drinking water because the system likes you. Okay, get that through your head. And the benefit of realizing that no one likes you is then you stop expecting people to do nice stuff for you and you take care of yourself. The conventional healthcare system doesn't like you. It wants to sell you drugs and make money off you. Take care of your health so you don't need to go begging for drugs. It's like that in a lot of situations. Okay, Thomas Fuller, health is not valued until sickness comes. Good clothes open all doors. He that has the worst cause makes the most noise. That's a common thing in modern world, is the biggest lying scumbags will make the biggest fuss or get money behind them and they can get their way even though they don't deserve it. Thomas Fuller, women commend a modest man, but they like him not. Yeah, that's another thing too. Women will always say, what do you want in a man? They'll say, oh, a guy with a nice personality, who's funny, a sense of humor and intelligent. They don't care about that. That's just the polite thing to say. They want a guy who's tall and he's got money. Thomas Fuller, he who findeth fault meaneth to buy. The great thieves punish the little ones. Yeah, that's kind of like the quote that the little bugs, flies are caught in the spider's web. The big ones just break right through it. Okay, a few quotes on Dan Gable, and then that'll be it for today. He was the great wrestler, super famous, the greatest college wrestling coach who ever lived. He won. You'd expect his team to win the national championship, Iowa, when I was a young guy. He said, I had 10,000 hours of wrestling before my first college match, but I got a lot better in college. And after my loss to Larry Owings, I decided to refocus my goals. Instead of just being the best wrestler in my weight class, I decided to try to become the best in the world. That way I figured if I tried for that, then I would be likely to win the Olympics. And he did. He was unscored upon in the Olympics. He said, I'm here for my family and for my sport. And when he would go to wrestling coaching meetings and decision meetings, there were some tragedies in his family, like what happened to his sister. In a sense, he kind of wrestled for his family. He was undefeated for about 7 years in a row, including 3 years of high school state championships and national championships in college, until he lost to a guy named Larry Owings. And after that, he pushed himself even harder. So he's one of the all-time greatest wrestlers, a very inspiring guy. The Iowa team, they were just tough. They were better conditioned than other guys. Their technique wasn't too glamorous. Most of them were not too original. They had a few guys like Randy Lewis. I loved watching Randy Lewis wrestle, but they weren't that interesting. The Schultz brothers from Oklahoma were a lot more interesting, okay? Anyways, that's Dan Gable. We'll leave it at that. Hope that was interesting or helpful.